What if one Bitcoin could one day be worth $21 million? That's not a random internet rumor. That's the prediction of Michael Saylor, billionaire strategist and one of the most relentless believers in Bitcoin's future. He's not just talking about Bitcoin going up, he's talking about a total financial revolution. Saylor claims the world's first cryptocurrency could rise another 18,000% in value, reaching a market cap 7 times larger than every public company in America combined. To some, it sounds like madness. To others, it's the clearest vision of where money is heading. But here's the twist. Saylor isn't some influencer pumping coins. He's the founder and executive chairman of MicroStrategy, a publicly traded company that has turned itself into a Bitcoin fortress holding over 200,000 BTC on its balance sheet. And he's risked everything, his reputation, his company, and his fortune on a single belief, that Bitcoin will outlast every currency on Earth. So how did a once traditional CEO become one of Bitcoin's loudest prophets? And what happens if he's right? Let's break down the story. The faith, the obsession, and the prophecy that could rewrite the global economy. From skeptic to believer. Before Michael Saylor became Bitcoin's evangelist, he didn't believe in it at all. Back in 2013, when Bitcoin was just breaking into mainstream awareness, Saylor tweeted something that would later haunt him. Bitcoin's days are numbered. It seems like just a matter of time before it suffers the same fate as online gambling. He laughed at the idea of digital gold, but a few years and one massive inflation wave changed everything. As the U.S. printed trillions of dollars to stabilize the economy, Saylor watched the value of corporate cash slowly dissolve. He realized that the biggest risk wasn't volatility, it was holding dollars that were guaranteed to lose value. That's when he had his epiphany. If cash is dying, the only logical response is to move into something that can't be inflated, can't be printed, and can't be controlled. So he went all in. He didn't just buy Bitcoin for himself, he converted MicroStrategy's corporate treasury into Bitcoin. To Wall Street, it looked insane. To Saylor, it was survival. In his words, every other asset is a melting ice cube. Bitcoin is the only thing that doesn't melt. The 21 million prophecy. To understand Saylor's vision, you need to understand one number. 21 million. That's the total number of Bitcoin that will ever exist. Not one more, not one less. It's a rule written into Bitcoin's code, an unbreakable limit that no government, no corporation, and no billionaire can change. Saylor calls it digital thermodynamics. In his eyes, Bitcoin isn't just money. It's pure energy, stored forever on the blockchain. And the moment people understand that, he says, the world will never go back to fiat. He even built a theory around it, that Bitcoin could eventually replace the global monetary system. His math? Simple and staggering. If Bitcoin absorbs even half of the world's wealth, each coin could hit $21 million in value by 2046. That would make Bitcoin the single most valuable asset humanity has ever created, worth more than all stocks, gold, and real estate combined. Unrealistic? Maybe. But remember, this is the same man who predicted the rise of the internet when people thought it was a fad. Now he believes Bitcoin is following the same path, from niche obsession to world-changing infrastructure, from skepticism to cult following. Of course, not everyone buys Saylor's vision. Even among crypto veterans, a $21 million Bitcoin sounds absurd. Critics call him delusional, a cult leader building a digital religion around a volatile asset. But here's the thing. Every movement that changed the world started with a fanatic. Saylor's belief isn't just emotional, it's mathematical. He argues that every other asset, gold, real estate, stocks, is fundamentally tied to the printing of money. When governments expand the money supply, everything else inflates artificially. Bitcoin, by contrast, is fixed. That scarcity is what makes it priceless. His followers have turned his speeches into viral clips. They quote him like scripture. You don't sell your Bitcoin, you sell your house, you sell your car, but you never sell your Bitcoin. To them, Saylor isn't just a CEO. He's a digital age philosopher, someone who looked at the chaos of modern finance and found order in ones and zeros. But that obsession comes with a cost, because when your entire identity is tied to one asset, there's no backup plan if it fails. The numbers don't lie, or do they? Let's talk reality. If Saylor's prediction came true, if Bitcoin hit $21 million per coin, it would mean a total market value of $441 trillion. That's 7 times the value of every publicly traded company in the U.S. combined. It sounds impossible, but then again, Bitcoin has defied the odds before. In just over a decade, it's gone from a few cents to over $100,000 per coin. That's an 18,000% rise, something no traditional asset has ever achieved. And according to Saylor, we're still early. He believes global wealth will continue flowing toward Bitcoin as investors lose faith in fiat. Gold markets are growing, real estate is inflating, but Bitcoin, he says, is pure, uncorrupted, global, eternal. The skeptics argue that this kind of growth can't continue, that regulation, volatility, and competition will keep Bitcoin in check. But to Saylor, these aren't obstacles, they're fuel. Each wave of doubt only strengthens his conviction that Bitcoin's path is inevitable. The turning point. Why every crash makes Bitcoin stronger. Here's something few people realize. Every time Bitcoin crashes, it comes back stronger. To Saylor, each downturn is a test of faith, a cleansing fire that burns away the weak hands and leaves only the true believers. In 2013, Bitcoin fell more than 80%. In 2018, it crashed again after hitting $20,000. Then in 2022, it lost 70% of its value, dragging entire crypto exchanges down with it. But every single time, Bitcoin recovered, and every recovery brought in new believers, new institutions, and new money. Saylor sees volatility not as danger, but as proof of life. Every time Bitcoin crashes, he says, it doesn't die. It hardens. That resilience is what makes Bitcoin different. It's not dependent on governments or CEOs, it's dependent on math. No central bank can print more of it, and no collapse can erase its code. To Saylor, each bear market isn't the end. It's a rebirth. And the people who survive it? They're the ones who will inherit the next financial world. The obsession, Saylor's all-in gamble on Bitcoin. For Michael Saylor, Bitcoin isn't just a financial position, it's a personal crusade. Since 2020, he's transformed MicroStrategy into the world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. He's borrowed money, sold stock, and risked billions to buy more, no matter how high or low the price goes. Wall Street called him insane. Analysts said he'd turned a tech company into a crypto casino. But Saylor didn't care. Every dip was a discount. Every crash was a sale. He believes the dollar is dying and Bitcoin is the only lifeboat left. You don't sell your house because it rains, he once said. You build a roof and stay inside. Still, this kind of conviction can look a lot like obsession. MicroStrategy's future now rises and falls with Bitcoin's price. And if Bitcoin ever fails, his company could collapse with it. But maybe that's what makes Saylor so compelling. He's not hedging. He's not playing both sides. He's betting everything on one idea, that the future belongs to digital scarcity. And maybe, just maybe, he's right. The future of money. What if Saylor is right? Picture this. A world where governments no longer control money, where every transaction, every salary, and every loan happens on the blockchain. Where people store their savings not in banks, but in digital wallets protected by math, not politicians. That's Michael Saylor's endgame. He believes Bitcoin will become the foundation of a new global financial order, one that's transparent, incorruptible, and borderless. If he's right, countries that hold Bitcoin could become the new economic superpowers. If he's wrong, billions could lose faith in the system he helped build. But here's the truth. Even if Bitcoin never hits $21 million, Saylor has already changed the world. He's forced banks, governments, and investors to take Bitcoin seriously. He turned a speculative asset into a conversation about freedom, inflation, and the future of value. You can fight it, Saylor says, but eventually you'll join it, because you'll have to. So maybe this isn't just about money. Maybe it's about belief, in technology, in freedom, and in something bigger than the dollar. The question now isn't if Bitcoin will change the world, it's how soon.